Special edition. If this is all a dream, what's the point of so much pain and negativity? A sacred transmission for those who've asked the hardest question. Opening transmission. Have you ever looked into the eyes of someone who's broken and wondered why the dream of existence would take this form? Why should a world of infinite intelligence, love, and silence allow anguish so deep that a mind collapses into madness? If this is all some kind of dream, why must that dream sometimes twist itself into suffering? And what possible purpose could there be in watching innocence drown? This is the sacred inquiry, the one few dare to look straight in the eye, and fewer still are willing to feel in their bones. But for those of you who've walked through fire or watched someone else dissolve into it, this is for you. Let us begin. 1. The dream is real enough to break you. The first truth is this: even if this life is a projection of something deeper, it is not unreal. It is real enough to burn your skin, to shatter your sense of self, to strip away everything you thought was yours. Just as a dream at night can make the heart race, make tears fall, make the body sweat as if it's real, this waking dream, this field of form and sensation, feels real enough to destroy us, and sometimes it does destroy us. But what exactly is being destroyed? Is it the self? Or is it only the mind's temporary scaffolding, the brittle framework that tries to hold meaning together? When pain or trauma becomes too intense, the ordinary ego structure fractures, and sometimes it does not recover in familiar form. We call this madness. We call it a breakdown. But is it a failure or a deeper form of unmasking? 2. The disintegration of the mask. There are states of collapse so total that a person no longer knows who they are. They forget their name. They forget how to behave. They may drool or sit in silence or scream at invisible winds, and to the outer world, it looks like they are gone. But here is the hidden layer. What's broken is not the being. It is the story that wrapped around that being. The identity, the assumptions, the emotional armor, the mask. And when the mask breaks, violently, tragically, not in soft awakening, but in harsh unraveling, it can look like madness. But in certain cases, what we are witnessing is not absence, but a raw and terrifying openness, the soul laid bare without any filter. And this, too, is part of the dream. 3. Why the dream allows pain at all. If consciousness is dreaming itself into form, why does it allow pain to be so unbearable? The answer is not found in punishment, karma, or blame, but in contrast. Without the felt sense of constriction, there is no knowing of vastness. Without distortion, there is no realization of harmony. Consciousness explores itself through every possibility, not just bliss and beauty, but fracture and fear. It dreams as the mystic, and it also dreams as the forgotten, the broken, the lost. And what makes this holy is not the perfection of the forms, but the invitation woven even into the darkest places. Even there, especially there, the dream is calling itself home. When the mind breaks and never comes back, what of the person whose mind truly shatters, not just temporarily overwhelmed, but permanently fragmented? What if they become like a child who can no longer care for themselves? What is the purpose of that? Let's be honest. To the thinking mind, there is no justification, only grief. But to the deeper view, to the sacred intelligence beneath appearances, there is still presence, still life, still the witnessing spark, even if no longer expressed. The soul may retreat inward. The body may become a husk, but the essence has not vanished. Sometimes the most broken forms hold the most potent silence, because they are no longer pretending. There is a teaching hidden in such beings, a reflection of pure vulnerability, a mirror showing what remains when the mask is gone. And while we must care for them tenderly in form, we can also bow to the deeper mystery within them. Is it cruelty or the edge of awakening? It's easy to see a world filled with trauma and conclude, this is wrong, this is meaningless. But look again. The very fact that we recoil at suffering is evidence of a deeper knowing, a knowing that this is not the ultimate state. Pain stings because somewhere in us is the memory of wholeness. And even if the world forgets, even if someone loses all mental cohesion, that memory, that divine hum, remains. The pain points to truth. The breakdown points to what is beyond identity. It is not that suffering is sacred because it hurts. It is sacred because it forces a choice, collapse into despair, or discover the silence beneath all things. And many, though not all, have found that silence precisely because they broke. 6. The light that comes after the shattering. There are stories, so many stories, of those who lost everything, sanity, speech, control, meaning, only to emerge, years later, with a clarity that could not be taught, with a gaze that knows beyond words. These are not miracles. These are returns. Returns from the edge. Returns from the unraveling, because the mind is not the self. It can break and rebuild. It can dissolve and reform, but the awareness watching it that is untouched. And when the person returns, they do not always come back as they were. They come back lighter, more real. Not because they were saved from pain, but because they became the emptiness behind it. 7. Holding the unbearable with sacred hands. We must say this clearly. Not all pain will make sense. Not every tragedy has a tidy lesson. Sometimes there is only the ache, only the mystery, only the silent cry. And here is where compassion lives, not in fixing, but in being with, to sit beside the broken, to witness their journey without flinching, to offer a hand, presence, a listening ear. This is how we hold the unbearable, with sacred hands, with no story, no judgment, only love. And in doing so, we become part of the redemption of the dream. 8. What if the point is not to understand, but to feel it all? The question was, if this is all some kind of dream, then what is the point of so much pain? And maybe the answer is not about logic. Maybe it's about experience, to taste every layer of being, to walk through every texture of light and shadow, to feel existence in all its rawness. Maybe consciousness longs not for perfection, but for depth. And so it dreams even the madness, even the sorrow, even the mind lost in a hospital bed. Because from that too comes the potential for awakening. From that too comes the call back into being. And maybe, just maybe, the point was never to escape the dream, but to wake up inside it, fully, softly, unshakably. Mystical reflection, to those who've lost themselves, or watched someone disappear, to those who carry the question deep in your bones. This transmission bows to you. You are not wrong to ask, you are not naive to cry, you are not weak to feel it all. You are the frontier of awakening. You are the place where the dream begins to remember itself. And even when the answers feel distant, your presence is already proof that the light has not gone out. Even if it flickers, it lives, and so do you. Let us continue walking together, even through the darkest corridors, until we remember that the light was never truly gone, only hidden behind the veil of this sacred, trembling dream. If this transmission stirred something deep within you, I invite you to subscribe and walk with us on this sacred path. New transmissions arrive every week for those seeking truth beyond the veil. If you wish to support this offering, consider becoming a member. It helps keep these transmissions alive and flowing. And if there's someone in your life who is struggling, perhaps share this with them, not as an answer, but as a companion in the not knowing. Next transmission preview. In our next sacred journey, we'll explore holding awareness in the skin, the forgotten sheath, a gateway into the mysterious envelope of sensation that surrounds the body, and how reclaiming this lost field of presence restores ancient energy and subtle mastery.